Good boy. Hey, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records. And Steve over at All the World's a Stage has a contest that's expiring on his 65th birthday, which would be in, 3 or 4 days here. And he wants us to show records, show an album from 1965, and show favorite song from 1965, and mention an important event or person in 1965. So I've assembled a few albums here. I'll point to album from 1965, The Dillards with Byron Berline, right here. And this one is called Pickin' and Fiddlin'. And this is obviously 1965 record on Elektra. Part of that folk, bluegrass folk music that they were putting out that led to, of course, the Byrds and others, and of course the Dillards, best known to the general public as the Darlings from the Andy Griffith Show, but a very important band and important musicians in that band. Working with Gene Clark after he left the Byrds, doing the Dillards going on for many, many years, working with John Hartford. And it was real important that they joined forces with Byron Berline, a guy from Oklahoma who was young, who was in college stuff, and he came out west and saw the Dillards play and talked to them after their show and say, I play the fiddle. And that led to this album in 1965. The record label didn't like it too much. They said, no, we want to do an album featuring this guy who's not actually in the band and his fiddle. And they did, and it's an excellent, excellent album. I'd call it a classic, and you can pick it up for not a lot of money. It's not like a rarity or anything like that. So that record, and Berline went on to a huge career after that, playing the fiddle in various bluegrass bands, various rock projects, so on and so forth. He's on at least one, if not more, Rolling Stones albums. For instance, if they needed a fiddle, that's who they call, generally speaking. And that doesn't work with rock artists, bluegrass artists, so on and so forth. Okay, and next, show a song. And I will, this was playing when I started this video. Roger Miller had a huge hit with King of the Road in 1965. I was a little kid. I was 6 years old, turning 7 in 1965, and I can remember King of the Road like it was yesterday. What a great song that was. What a great songwriter Roger Miller was. A crazy, crazy guy. I mean, he wrote some crazy stuff, and to hear the antics that he was involved in during his career just make you belly laugh. And another song I'll mention that I remember so well from 1965, and this is Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs, and this is their best of album on MGM, and they had the #1 hit of 1965 on the singles charts, I believe, Wooly Bully, and I so well remember this band playing on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I'm sure on other shows I saw, but I probably think every memory I have from that period of a band playing is probably the Ed Sullivan Show, but probably some of them were on Shindig and things like that. My memory just doesn't connect with the specific show. Okay, and finally, an important event in 1965. Well, I'm a retired history teacher, so this one was extremely important. What I first thought of in August of 1965, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was passed pushed through by Lyndon Baines Johnson. One of the great perplexing events of the 60s, I think, was the election of Lyndon Baines Johnson, who had always been supported the segregationist position as a House member and a senator, and they thought they had no friend. Martin Luther King and the others thought they had no friend in the White House when Kennedy was assassinated and Johnson became president. Little did they know Johnson had been laying in wait. He knew right from wrong. He knew what the good Christian thing to do was. And you can talk about Johnson all you want about the Vietnam War or anything like that. But what Lyndon Baines Johnson said was, now I've got the power. And he could so work the Congress from his years of experience there. He could bully, he could charm, whatever it took, these House and Senate members, and he got enough votes to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and that was a tremendous advancement in our country. And so that's why Lyndon Baines Johnson is one of my favorite presidents. Johnson said, with passage of these two, he said, we've lost the South. The Democrats have lost the South for a generation. We actually lost it for more than a generation. But I'll show this album, the Staple Singers, when we think about the civil rights movement, who was active. They were very active performing at rallies and things like that. So there's my couple songs, an album, and a very important event. Everybody, take care, and I'll remind you to be kind to your neighbor because, folks, we're all neighbors.